Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurants, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Pride. Also by Fresh and Faded, Jones Clark Funeral Home, and Lima Pallet Company.
Whether you follow mainstream media or social media platforms in Greater Lima, the question that seems to get the most response consistently is crime and economic development. Today we tackle the topic of economic development with local leaders in charge and how some recent changes affect the Lima community. It's important for Lima residents to understand economic development, success, not only because of the ability to be employed, but how it strengthens our community. The schools we send our kids to, the houses we live in, even access to quality health care. When we hear the normal question, why can't we get a Chick-fil-A or a Target? It's usually countered with because of this or because of that. But the important question should be, has the leadership communicated a strong economic development mission? Who and how are they responsible? Their duties, how are they divided? And what are the true indicators for local economic growth in Greater Lima? Welcome, guys. It's certainly a pleasure to have Dave with me and Doug with me. And what I don't want to do is get all bogged up into the numbers and the graphs. Let me throw a little twist at you. You guys come with different hats in your roles, and I think it's important for Lima's leaders, for people to know who Lima's leaders are. I think it gives them a sense of understanding when things don't go their way. Let me ask you this. Let me start with you, Doug. Your communication hat. All the turmoil, all the hate, all the divisiveness that's going on in the world today. We know earlier in the month, the shootings. If we just looked at you as a leader in Lima, how do you see that affecting your role? Before we get into what Doug does and what his role is, what's in your heart about those things that affect communities and how we communities come together?
Yeah, Jerome, it's a great question. First of all, appreciate you having me on today. And let me just say, you know, from an economic development standpoint, I think it's part of our role to really improve the lives of the individuals in our community.
Even with the hate and even with all the divisiveness, communication and
Sure.
Things used to be when you didn't agree with people and you didn't agree with where the jobs were, you just talked about it. Now there seems to be hate thrown in.
Yeah, I think that's probably true in some circles, but there's still an element in this region that wants to collaborate and cooperate and communicate. And I think the Greater Lima region, the organization that I represent, sits kind of at the heart of how we can drive positive discussion about improving the lives of the residents, even attracting new residents to our region. So I hear what you're saying. It is a concern, of course. We all see it and we all recognize it. But our role is to lead positive discussion about improvement in the region.
Excellent point. And you talk about that, Dave, and I can put on your pastor's hat because I know from the religious sector, it's important for our leaders to feel apathy, for our leaders to feel like we can come and talk to them about it. And when you put on your religious hat, Doug, are we going in the right, Dave, are we going in the right direction, particularly as a community?
You know, I'd say, Jerome, first of all, thank you for letting us take part in the conversation today. But we're wired with looking at how we can make this, you know, a place of unity. Right. So we see it as a team. We would like to work with the Chamber of Commerce. We want to work with the City of Lima, the county officials. We want to work with community leaders. Our goal truly is, and I think we're seeing a lot of progress with this as well.
Right.
You're talking divisiveness.
Right.
What I see is a collaborative spirit.
Dave, those communities are going to grow as we continue to evolve. Those communities that work well together, people feel like a sense of belongingness, if I can make up a word. You follow me, Dave? That seems to be the threshold, I think, of where growing communities are going to be judged at, as to how you can get different people from different areas, different walks of life to come together and make a difference. Right, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're going to invite, appreciate you having us on the show. I would like to invite people of Allen County and of Lima to feel free to come and talk to Allen Economic Development Group. There's an open door. And our goal is to be receptive to all cultures, all communities within Allen County, to support them with growth.
And Lima's had a strong sense, Dave, of that kind of spirit of cooperation and unity. And when you talk about that, Doug, part of that process is understanding just what you do and how does it affect me. What's the difference, Doug, between your role, and we're going to talk a little bit about your new leadership role. What's the difference between what you bring to the table and what Dave brings to the table?
It's a good question. There is some confusion in the community about the difference between the Greater Lima region and the Allen Economic Development Group. Let me simply say this. The Allen Economic Development Group is a public-private partnership.
And that's Dave's group.
Correct.
And it's called the Allen Economic Development Group.
That's correct. And Dave leads that team. And it's a public-private partnership, partially funded by the county commissioners and the city of Lima, but there's a private sector funding component to the Allen Economic Development Group.
Okay.
That's the obligation of the GLR. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that's a consortium of businesses that are looking to stimulate economic development in the region. Part of the way we stimulate economic development is to be the private sector funding of the Allen Economic Development.
Oh, now that clears it up. Can I back up to the word region?
Sure.
So when we look at that map, and I think we have a regional map, can you explain region and how it's so important,
Right.
how that it's on the screen now?
Yeah, it's important to look at this area as an eight county region.
But that seems to be a hard sell.
Well, I mean, you know, look, Jerome, we don't shy away from hard projects, and if it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. So the difficult part is, yes, pulling together kind of a collaborative effort, and here's the reason why. When we look at job growth, when we look at where businesses are locating,
right.
We're competing with areas such as Dayton, Columbus, Fort Wayne, even Cincinnati and Toledo. So we have to pull together the resources in a collaborative manner to take a broader look at this region. Mm-hmm. We have many people in this region that maybe work in Allen County but live in Putnam County, and they cross county lines either for work or shopping. We have to take a look at this region in a collaborative way to compete regionally as much other metro areas.
And you're bringing those regions together, the Finleys, the Hancock, pardon my trying to figure out, the Van Wert, the Auglaize County. They're all one under your umbrella, right,
Well,
Doug?
that's the goal, Jerome. So what I can tell you is we're just starting to put together the strategic plan to really implement a community-wide, regional-wide discussion about how we go about doing that. So are we there yet? No, we're not. Are we determined to get there? Yes, we are.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important, Dave, for the community to understand those roles. Follow me? Because community wants to know where you're going as a community. We want to know that we're living in a vibrant, follow me, Doug? We want to know that we're living in a community that has some leaders who have our best interests in mind. And sometimes, and if you notice my opening statement, sometimes, Dave, people get confused about economic development and economic growth. They're not interchangeable. Pardon me, follow me, they're not. Your job, Doug, Dave, is to focus a little bit more on economic growth. You count jobs, you count...
I do, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And so when you showed the map, our focus with Allen Economic Development Group is Allen County. So we're focused on what can we do to attract business to Allen County. How can we nurture business? How can we help businesses grow?
So if I had a business and I wanted to start a business, if I picked up the phone and wanted to call about a business located in Allen County, I don't call Doug, I call Dave.
That's
about
right.
Allen County.
We would be more focused on the task rather than the strategy. We're working with the individual businesses. I'm going to give you an example.
Yes.
Right now, Allen Economic Development Group is working on 39 projects.
Wow.
Of those 39 projects would amount, if they all materialize, it would amount to more than 700 jobs and would mean about $260 million worth of capital investment in Allen County. Now, you just mentioned, can we be excited about Allen County? I believe we can.
Those projects are in the pipeline as we speak.
Early stage, I mean, we're in process stage.
So let me ask
some are even at completion.
That is excellent. Let me ask you this. Where does Doug, the GLR, Greater Lima Region, come into play for those projects?
Yeah,
to affect
absolutely.
Allen County. If I'm taking off the regional hat, where do those projects, how does he come into play for those projects?
Sure. So we're going to work hand in hand together. It's two separate organizations, but our goal is going to be able to help communicate to Doug opportunities that we are hearing through the state of Ohio, through other organizations of what it might mean for Lima, Allen County. How can we attract business to Lima, Allen County?
Yeah. But I can just tell by the way he's looking at you, Doug, there's still some work to be done in communicating that message. Am I wrong to say that?
Well, I mean, only from the perspective of that I'm new to the GLR.
Yes,
right. So Dave and I are learning how we're working together and how we're collaborating and communicating. But I've been on the board of the GLR for several years, so I have experience with that. But let me just add this. AEDG has no funding mechanism. They work with existing businesses to try and help them expand. They may need roads put in, they may need utilities brought to a certain area. So that's what AEDG is doing, working on the very specific task of how to help businesses either locate here or expand here. There's no funding mechanism that AEDG has in their own purview, really. But GLR brings the private sector consortium of businesses to potentially bring funding opportunities to the projects that they're working on.
That is some good information. When we get back, we're going to hear exactly how the new guy started in this role as our leader.
From early in the morning when the Happy Days stores open, turn the grills on, get the coffee turned on. Across town, the beer barrels, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Sauces being prepped on the stove. At Old City Prime, everything's from scratch. I think the culture in our company is that we care about our people. And in return, our people care about our customers. Thank you so much to all of our team that's worked for us, and thank you so much to all the communities that we're in for being such great customers.
Our barbers and cosmetologists are licensed professionals who specialize in all phases of hair. Whether you are getting a line-up, cut, beard trim, or design, our barbers will help create your unique style. With full-time cosmetologists, also taking appointments and walk-ins from lashes, presses, color, wax to braids, and weaves, Fresh and Faded cosmetologists do it all. Call us for an appointment today. Fresh and Faded Unisex Hair Studio, the largest shop in Northwest Ohio. 419-221-FADE.
If you ain't fresh, you ain't faded.
Well, I think really what we've done with the Greater Lima region is set a good foundation. We know, and the data really suggests that our workforce and our businesses operate in a much larger area than just Allen County. So how do we really reach out and respond to those needs?
We have a very specific strategic plan that we'll be executing against. It has 3 specific priorities in it. Economic development is 1, workforce development is 2, and then regional collaboration, really taking a look at collaboration outside of Allen County and how can the region collectively work on economic development issues.
Wow, welcome back to Lima. Welcome back to Lima. Hello, Lima. We're certainly appreciative of having 2 great guests with us to talk about economic development and how it affects us as a community. It's something that gets the most feedback on our Facebook page and certainly on our social media platforms. People are always chiming in. As you heard a little bit about it, Doug, you're the new guy on the block, so to speak. You've been around Lima a little while. Certainly as a former publisher of the Lima News, you know the community, but you're taking on a new hat, as we saw there. How are you going to evolve? How does it play out for us in the community?
Yeah, well,
because we don't care that you're new, Doug. We want jobs.
That's right. I understand. Today, I get it. No, I feel the pressure of the need to deliver on project development, certainly. But I have developed a brand new strategic plan for the Greater Lima region. Our board just saw that for the first time a couple of weeks ago.
Do we know about it? Is this new? Coming out?
Well, it's been it's public information.
Gotcha.
It's been shown publicly to various media outlets. It's been shown to county and city officials.
We may have some of that footage.
Right. Sure. So I mean, the issue is Jeff Sprague, who I'm succeeding at the Greater Lima region, did a really great job of leading that organization, and I'm taking over an organization that's in really good shape financially and logistically.
Right.
So when I say I've written a new strategic plan,
we've got you on the screen up there, so we certainly appreciate you giving us the insight as to how that transition happened, right, Doug?
Right. Well, again, I served on the board for the Greater Lima region for a couple of years. So in my role as publisher of the Lima News, I was also a board member of the Greater Lima region.
Okay, let's cut to the chase, because the community that we talk to doesn't want to hear about where you were and how you got to where you were. At the end of the day, people's lives are affected by you two's hats. Does that make sense? And I know you, and I've known you guys, and you're good people, but at the end of the day, Doug, you're responsible for changing lives. Economic development, Dave, isn't about how many jobs we bring in the community, isn't about how many houses people sell, it's about how Doug can go into a community and make it a platform for growth and development. Follow me? Doug talks about jobs and the opportunity for people to have a quality of life. That's economic development.
Sure. Oh, no, absolutely. We take into consideration the quality of lives that people are living in the area. That's why economic development is not just about industrial growth or commercial growth.
Thank you.
It's also about things to do in the region, how people
quality of health care. Yes, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it expands into what people do in the area and what attracts them to stay in this area. Let me give you an example.
Yes.
We operate an event called Maker Fest, and it's really an event that's designed to bring job seekers together with those companies that are trying to fill jobs, right? Why do we do that? Well, the reason we try to do that is to show the young people, the high school graduates, the college graduates in the area, that they can live in this area and build a life and make a living here. There's a perception in the community from some that that's not true. We're here to argue that you can raise a family here. You can find a decent quality of life here. There are things to do in the region that attract people
and when
to
you talk
this
about
area.
the region, you're talking about the Greater Lima region. That includes?
I'm specifically talking about the 8-county region that the Greater Lima region is focused on.
And it's important for that audience to focus on the fact that Doug is talking about regional growth. Dave talks about Allen County. Do you see that same collaboration in Allen County? May not be the word I'm looking for, but people want jobs. People want
here's the thing, Jerome. We believe we want to be maximizers for people.
Yes.
We're going to try to help people into a good situation. Here's a good statement you and I probably have talked about. And that is, a person is most satisfied when they are in the center of their calling. How can we get people into a place of employment that satisfies and fulfills and helps their family? Here's a good example. So over the last 5 years, the median income of Allen County has risen 5% per household. Okay, so people say, oh, is this a great place or is it not?
Right.
It is, because of the fact that we are seeing incomes increased. And today, and I just talked to the Ohio Means Jobs, there are 1,730 jobs within a 10-mile radius of downtown Lima that are available. Okay, so if a person wants to start looking for a job, I would encourage them, come and see Allen Economic Development Group, help us to steer them to a place, whether it's Ferion, whether it's Ohio Means Jobs, and help them to find a place that is fulfilling to them, but it's also ultimately going to help their family.
Wow, that is good news. I mean, you're talking about 5% increase in the last 5 years.
Since 2014.
Wow, I haven't said that, Doug. What's the feedback on the Amazon project? Did that project catch people by surprise, or was there some misunderstanding with it?
Well, I think there has been some confusion in the media specifically about how seriously Amazon was looking at Lima as a place to locate their distribution center. I can tell you that, and I've talked to the mayor about this, and I've talked to other economic development officials. I can tell you that there weren't any serious conversations with any of those folks in those positions from Amazon. So from our perspective,
and you'd have been the first to know.
Well, I mean, again, Jerome, I've been at GLR since June, and this process, I'm sure, occurred over the past. How long does Amazon take to determine a location? A year, 18 months, 2 years? I don't know. But what I can tell you is, no one that I've talked to, Dave, Jeff Sprague, Mayor Berger, were ever involved in serious conversations with Amazon.
So let me ask you a question about Amazon. It could be company XYZ. Follow me, Dave. It doesn't matter. What comes first, Doug? If Amazon says, I can't come to your community, and you can put any company in that category because you don't have the educational, you don't have the number of skilled workforce. So how do we ever get off this
Well,
how do we get the skilled workers to attract companies like that if companies like that don't invest in our region?
Yeah, it's a great question, but there are a lot of really talented and smart people working on solutions to that.
Good.
You've heard Dave mention Ohio Means Jobs. Joe Patton, what he's done with that agency and how he's turned it into a resource for people in the community to find work if they're looking for work, they do amazing work over there. I mentioned MakerFest, an event that tries to bring the job providers and the job seekers together.
But Doug, all that regional growth, and excuse me, Dave, all that regional growth that we have, couldn't that have attracted an Amazon? I'm just using Amazon.
Can I speak to that? Can I speak to that? Because I think there's a misnomer out there that, you know, we wouldn't hear about Amazon. I can guarantee you, a company that size, because we have a relationship with Jobs Ohio and Regional Growth Partnership, other entities that direct companies like that. If there was any interest by Amazon in Allen County, we would have known about it.
And we do have the people, we can fulfill the obligation that those companies are looking for, can we, Dave?
Absolutely. Here I'm going to give you a success story, okay? And people say, you know, is Lima a good place to live, a good place to work? Yes, absolutely. Here's a company named Distur that is a company from the country of Belgium that their first plant in the United States is located where? Lima, Ohio.
Wow.
It's on Kibbe Street.
Wow.
They're a plastics producer. The site selector came from Dubai.
Right.
He came, we met with him because we heard of the story through Jobs Ohio, and we encouraged them to consider Lima, Ohio. And you know what's going to end up happening? 70 jobs that will be on Kibbe Street because of this company called Distur.
Is that right?
It's exciting stuff. And when people say Lima doesn't have much to offer, and we hear that, Jerome, that's totally nonsense. We have a lot to offer.
And I will attest to that, particularly in the point of, if you look at the leadership and hearing you guys talk, there seems to be a sense of spirit of, hey, there is optimism with respect to Lima.
Well, and we have a sense of urgency to try and resolve some of the issues that we've been talking about here today. So you're seeing a collaborative spirit between Dave and I, and you could have others sitting at this table too, from the county commissioners to the mayor, to Ohio Means Jobs, to the Port Authority. There's a lot of folks that are looking at how can we drive economic development to improve the lives of the folks in the region. Sure.
Wow, when we come back, we're going to get a chance to talk about this thing called perception. We're going to talk about downtown Lima. And we're going to talk about the heart and soul of where this region economic arm is, and that's going to be Lima.
Sure.
We at Lima Pallet Company thank you, Lima. In 1977, we started a small family business, and today we continue to grow. Lima Pallet is a full-service pallet and crate provider. Every customer is unique, which is why we build pallets and crates to our customers' specific requirements. Because we have our own fleet of trucks, we're able to provide customers with on-time, same-day, and 24-hour emergency deliveries. Coming together is the beginning, keeping it together is progress, and working together is success. Let's continue to succeed.
The loss of a loved one can leave you with a lot of unanswered questions, feelings of stress and anxiety, and grief that makes events difficult to handle. The experienced funeral directors at Jones Clark Funeral Home will guide you through the aspects of the funeral service with compassion, dignity, and respect. Our staff of dedicated professionals is available to assist you in making funeral service arrangements. The funeral directors at Jones Clark Funeral Home provide individualized funeral services designed to meet the needs of each family. Call us today to pre-plan your funeral.
Wow, this is some exciting stuff. Thanks. Welcome back. Hello, Lima. Part of that process is that we're going places, and Lima is feeling that effect. And I know people talk about, can you raise a family in Lima, or can you start a business in Lima? I can attest to yes to all of the above. Let's talk about, take off your Greater Lima Regional hat, Doug, and talk about Lima. Sure. Talk about the nucleus of this whole operation.
Well, look, here's how we view it. The city of Lima is really the heartbeat of the region.
Thank you.
It's an economic driver for the entire region. The impact that the city of Lima has on the entire region extends beyond the borders of Allen County, extends beyond just the city limits of Lima. So from our perspective, there's a lot of opportunity for growth in the city limits. You've probably seen, a revitalization plan for the city of Lima that the Greater Lima region put together.
We're showing some of those on the screen. Go ahead, Doug.
Right, and we're working through the implementation of those projects, and there's a lot of exciting thing going on, including some housing opportunities that are being developed in downtown.
And that's happening right now. Those things that are shown on the screen now, Doug and Dave, aren't just fancy charts or fancy. You're trying to develop the corridor in segments, breaking it off, and developing that whole downtown. I don't want to speak for you. Go ahead, guys.
Well, and we're doing it not in a vacuum. There's a lot of individuals in the community that are also participating in this vision of revitalization for downtown Lima. So it's been a collaborative effort, and it continues today.
Dave, when we look at some of those charts that were on the screen, it showed Lima like, wow, we haven't seen anything like that. That's exciting, Dave.
Absolutely.
But how do you communicate that to the perception of nothing going on? And sometimes perception becomes reality. How do you communicate that to everybody feeling that spirit? How do you take somebody, and I don't want to get back to the region, I don't want to overtalk the question. How does somebody on Union Street feel that same effect on Market Street or Catalpa, feel that same effect on follow me? How do you do that, Dave?
We're excited about what's going on in downtown Lima. Is there more that can be done? Absolutely. And that's why we need teamwork among all of us, right? But when you look at some of the new restaurants that are downtown, we've been a part of the 318, the new restaurant that's right down on Main Street. We've been a part of the work of the Hollander. The Hollander is doing some wonderful things. The new project on the square with the housing. And then there's going to be a project called the Metro Center, where there's going to be 34 market rate apartments that it's going to be on Elizabeth Street, right down from the CUPE. Now there's can there be more done, Jerome? Absolutely. But I think we need to recognize what we have to offer here in Lima, Ohio. And enough of the negative spirit. Let's start looking at what can be done in a positive way to grow Lima, Allen County.
And Lima is growing. The process is evolving. Follow me, Dave. If you look downtown Lima and you see the things that are happening down there, you can't help but notice a renewed vigor of excitement.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you can feel the buzz, you can feel the heartbeat of the city, sure.
Yeah. So that process continues to make sure that we have that discussion in a positive respect. Follow me, Dave. We got to make sure that people know that you can raise a family, that you can come downtown Lima. But I want people to know that they can contact Doug or they can contact Dave. There are people within you guys' office that be willing to have this kind of open discussion.
There's an open door, Jerome. Let's just say to your viewers, we would love to have them contact Allen Economic Development Group or the Greater Lima region. We definitely want to see all segments of our culture and our society here growing in a positive way, and I think we can do that if we work together.
Wow, that is great news, and that is information that I'm hoping that we get across to today, and people will get a sense that this is this community is growing. This community is going places. The Greater Lima region, as you heard today, is showing renewed optimism. When discussing economic growth, the region has additional companies moving in. Local companies are expanding. Unemployment is low, with 1,700 jobs within a 20-mile radius. As the leaders continue to make an effort to delineate its duties and operations with a clear community message, even more local residents will feel this optimism. But it will also take a concerted effort to reach out, communicate how good economic development mission affects such things as high school graduation, college enrollment, increased home ownership, and poverty decline, just to name a few. I want to thank today's guests, Doug, Dave, their leadership. What you guys are doing, hats off. I appreciate it, and I know the community appreciates, because when you do well, we all do well. And people need to understand that. When you do well and feel that sense of optimism, it just kind of takes over the community, and the community continues to grow. And nobody wants a dying community. I don't care where you live, what sector of the population you live from, follow me, Dave. When everybody rises, follow me, then the community rises as a whole. And I appreciate you guys an opportunity to hear about this.
Thank you for having us on today.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Yep. Thank you.
Hello Lima, brought to you by Good Food Restaurants, home of Happy Days, Beer Barrel, and Old City Pride. Also by Fresh and Faded, Jones Clark Funeral Home, and Lima Pallet Company.